Hello, dreamers, doers, believers, and achievers, powerful people and wonderful winners. I'm Dwayne Shigg, and I've got a very special cast of gentlemen today for a very special encouragement. This is an encouragement, M-I-N-T, for encouraging men, M-E-N. And we want to talk about some things that's going to make a difference, to push, to help men overall, but especially in this time of stay at home, and help us to be confident in our confinement, if you will. We're going to deal with that. I did a Bible study recently on Psalms 27, and it says, the Lord is my light, my salvation. If the Bible is not your point of reference, that's okay. Just get the message. And the Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? And the background for that text is David was in a cave running from King Agag. And so he spoke about the Lord being my light. And so taking that as a jumping off point, we want to talk today to help men be confident in their confinement, or confident in their cave, because right now during this corona thing, we're all confined. And so I want to have these gentlemen introduce themselves, what they do, and then we're going to jump in to our conversation. And gentlemen, I may mute everybody's mic and then open them up so that whatever collateral background noise might not be there. But Paul, if you would let us know who you are and what you do, and we're going to jump in.
Thanks, Dr. Shigg. My name is Paul Dozier. I am the grandfather of 6 plus 1 adopted. I am a licensed agent, registered rep with one of the largest financial institutions out there.
All right. And Elder Johnson.
My name is Dwayne Johnson. I am singer-songwriter, currently a worship leader, and I'm excited to be here.
Thank you so much, sir. Greatly appreciate it. Bishop Taylor, sir.
Yes, sir. I am James Taylor. It is my honor to pastor the Heavenly Vision Church in Los Angeles. And I have the pleasure of being quarantined right now with my wife, Karen, my children, Caitlin, Joey, and Christy, and my mama, Lucy.
Okay. That's a smart man. You see how he said, I have the pleasure of. That's a smart man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. And awesome young man. His tag is everybody's favorite cousin. With Wendell, would you introduce yourself, please?
Hey everyone, my name is Wendell Jones. I'm a motivational speaker, life coach, and husband, father of 2 beautiful young boys. And I'm excited to be here and look forward to this amazing conversation.
Thank you. And just joining us is and I'm going to say it because he's in San Diego and he can't do nothing to me, is my little brother, even though he's about 4 inches taller than me. My little brother, Terry, introduce yourself, tell us who you are, what you do before we jump into this conversation.
Okay. My name is Terry Shigg, or Terrence Shigg. Yes, his little brother, but taller. And
you
bigger.
never say that.
But just to make it clear. So I'm a retired federal law enforcement agent. I am currently the chief operation officer for a nonprofit called Anybody Can Youth Foundation, where we help youth step off in life with the best foot forward, without cowardice, but with courage and dignity. And I'm also an entrepreneur and a licensed marriage and family therapist.
Great. If there's any way, Terry, it looks like the right side to me, but if you can bring some more light in, this little shadow over there, but that might be my computer, but if it's not.
Okay.
Gentlemen, I want to start off this conversation right about now. We're going through difficult times, people on lockdown, and what would you say? Well, let me ask you personally, and then we're going to go corporately. How has this lockdown, how has it affected you from a personal level? And I ask that so that when people hear us talking, sometimes people hear people talking and they're saying, oh, well, you don't know anything about the situation, but has this affected you in any specific way? And if so, how? Because what I want to do today is give an analysis of the situation. But those of you that know me know that I like solutions. And then we're going to talk about what is going to be done about it. And as a man, sometimes things hit in a different way. So this whole situation that we're dealing with, how has it affected you? Whoever wants to jump in first can go, and because right now everybody's muted. So you know, whoever wants to jump. Well, let me do this. Bishop Taylor, let me ask you to go to start from personally, and then as a pastor, what are you saying to the men of your congregation? What experiences, effects are you seeing on them?
Well, first of all, I'll start with myself. It has literally just changed the entire dynamic of actually how we're living in our household. It has shifted the dynamic because everybody's here all the time, and so having to deal with everybody in the same place, and not having a moment to get out of the house, and recognizing how functional we've been with not dealing with each other, and how not dealing with each other has become a part of our nature. And so now having to recalibrate that and just actually start dealing with one another, talking to other, having conversations. So that's been good, challenging, but good for us. And then for the men of our congregation, I really think just helping them navigate through the same thing. You know, we as men, you know, we have our work and our business and all of our different endeavors and our social engagements. You know, I love to go to the golf course, you know, and I will be as slow as I can on every hole just because it's time that I have to myself.
Right.
But, you know, just helping men navigate through the space of having to be present consistently. I think the challenge of consistent presence has been something that we're trying to encourage our men to engage in now.
Like that. Anyone else want to jump in? Let me ask a question, and I want to ask this question: what specific? Well, let me say that. What effects do you think are unique to men in this situation? Because it affects relationships, it affects finances, it affects all of those things. So I'm going to ask you, Paul, what do you think there are any specific ways as it relates to the effect that are unique to men? And you can speak to personal example or men that you know or that you have come in contact with.
Thanks for asking, Dr. Shigg. The biggest thing is, you know, I'm still in charge of being the leader of my family. And so that calmness is expected when panic ensues, whether in dealing with my grandchildren, dealing with my daughter. There's I don't want to say added responsibility because this is what I should be doing anyway.
Right.
However, the perception of that responsibility is there. What I mean by that is because they overreact. You know, I ran from here, I live on 136 in Maine here in LA, and I had to run to Long Beach because my granddaughter said she was feeling ill. But when I got there, she was just feeling lonely.
Lonely.
Because she hadn't been outside and that sort of thing. And the house was a wreck, and I was a little bit upset about that because my daughter works very, very hard. And she's 17. This is my adopted granddaughter.
Okay.
And she says, I need to go to the doctor, you know, all this other stuff. And so I immediately started cleaning up the house and talking about the importance of taking care of the house.
Okay.
I have to be that person that slows things down in the midst of issues.
I like that. Slows things down.
So that responsibility, and turns out she wasn't really sick.
Okay. Right.
She just missed her grandpa. So, but the point is being aware as a man, whether we feel it or not, we do have that responsibility to lead.
Wendell, you have children. What are the ages of your children?
We have a 12-year-old and we have a 2-year-old. Our 2-year-old just had his birthday, so we end up having a virtual party. So
wow. Now let me ask you, as a husband, father, and Paul mentioned leader, the effects of this is that it's having on you in those responsibilities. And with a 2-year-old and a 12-year-old, 12-year-old, you might be able to explain, but a 12-year-old don't understand. So how has this affected you in that respect? We're going to get to the other aspects, but I want to know, there are some fathers at home with children. How has it affected you?
the thing that I believe, or the way that I believe it's affected me, is because usually when I come home, I'm excited, I'm happy to see my kids, and now they want me to be that way all the time. Due in large part that's the way I am when I come home from work or out speaking or somewhere. I'm happy to see them. But now I'm at home, they want that same excitement, and plus they want all my time because they don't want me doing anything else. And I have to explain to them that, hey, daddy still got work to do.
Right.
These bills still got to get paid. So in order for these bills to get paid, daddy got to work.
So there's that responsibility. And Terry, responsibility. You all just moved to a new place. My niece Kira is very active. So how has this affected you as it relates to responsibility, father, husband? And I think two days ago was his wedding anniversary. So wedding anniversary and all these things going on. So how has it affected you in those responsibilities?
Well, I think for me, it's just more of getting a new perspective and being appreciative. So making sure that even when the 7-year-old wants the attention, to take that step back and remember she wants that attention because she loves you. It's not like she wants to involve your whole day so you can't get anything done. She didn't come up with this devious plot to go, how can I make sure that he doesn't get anything done? Although we think that sometimes. We're like, right. Are you just trying to mess me up, child? But it's just having that sense of calm and that sense of perspective. And I think I really agree with I believe what Paul said is that sense of calm, you have to bring that to them. Because in these times, and I think we talked about it a little bit earlier, as feeling a sense of control when there seems to be all the information says that you have no control. And being that foundation for your family is important. And I think it's even more important in these times that we recognize that they are, whether they say it or not, they're looking to you to see, okay, what do I need to panic right now? Or is everything okay? Is daddy gonna, be there and be able to take care of everything just like he was before? And I think to me, that's the perspective that I think that changed, that I wouldn't say changed, but made me more cognizant that I have to stay grounded in and pay attention to. But as far as the things that have changed is, you just got to be a little more creative. We talked about our anniversary, and so we had order out, had it delivered from Ruth Chris, which the food was just as good, but we had to have it in our living room on a makeshift table with the little candles there, so we couldn't go out. So that creativity, is that sense of fun and playfulness, just has to increase in these times.
I like that. Elder Johnson, you have you don't have any small children, but you have 3 boys, but two of them are grown. Well, all 3 of them are grown, basically. And I want to ask you, and I want to segue into another thing. How has this affected, what's the effect as relates to responsibility? And I want to segue, you can answer that, but I want to segue into relationships. So how does this affect the relationship, not just with the children, but with you and Mrs. Johnson?
First of all, you did say it correctly. I have no boys anymore. They are men. Right. And I have been encouraging them for the past year to move forward. Move forward, experience things and see basically what's out there, because I can only tell you so much. Right. There are things that you just have to experience, you have to learn. And with that being said, I really believe that this crisis, if you will, has brought the family unit face to face to be relational.
That's good.
Because as I believe Pastor Taylor said, regarding, us having our busy days and doing what we do on a daily and a weekly basis, there are times sometimes we just kind of pass each other in the night. Hey, how you doing? I'm good. That's it. And basically that's it. But we're here. We're face to face. We're now eating dinner together. We're eating breakfast together. We're sitting down and we're conversing, and we're doing more than we have done. And so it's just basically bring you face to face to be relational. And I think it's really healthy because I've learned a lot of things that I did not know. As you know, as men, we really don't like a lot of information.
Yeah.
How you doing? I'm doing good.
Yeah.
We're basically good with that.
Right.
But of course, with the women, they have to know details. No. Wait a minute. What happened when you woke up? After you sat on the side of the bed and you wiped your eyes, what did you think about that? And what were you doing? They want step by step.
Right.
We just want fine, good, that's fine, and we'll move on.
What's wrong and what you want me to do about it, basically.
Yeah, right, exactly. As far as relationships with my wife, it's brought us closer. I would have to say we're very much advocates for planning dates with your mates and spending time and having conversation more than about bills and children. And so I really believe that we've gotten closer. I like her more.
Okay.
And
this is going to be posted in about 40 minutes,
yes,
right? Okay.
Yes, definitely. And we talk about it quite often. I mean, you can love people all day long, but do you like the person that you're with?
Right.
Do you like the person that you're married to? And I will have to say, I don't have that struggle. I don't have that struggle saying, well, man, she's just stripping and this and that, because we both have the agreement that there are times when we have to go off and do our own thing. Trust is a very important thing in our relationship, and we stand on it.
Right.
And trust, we don't go in that door.
That
door is there, it's unlocked, but we don't go in that door to challenge that that situation, or better yet, that part of our relationship, because we tell everything. We tell each other everything. We don't hide anything. Of course, Pastor Shigg, personally that I don't hide. I can't hide it on my face anyway.
Right.
I don't have a poker face, so if there's something wrong, then you will know there's something wrong. Okay. And I've always said, Pastor Taylor, that if we had a problem, if we had an issue, we're not going to bed, with that issue. And if we do, I'm not sleeping on the couch.
So we're going to fix it.
Right. So we're going to fix it. So as far as relationships is concerned, ours is stellar. I love her like I love myself.
That's good.
I treat her. I treat her like a queen. I treat her like, I want to be treated.
Right.
I respect her. I've never, ever in our 26 years of relationship ever told her to shut up. Okay.
Well, that wouldn't work with her.
No, that wouldn't either. She wouldn't anyway.
Right. She got,
so happy. It's really happy over here. And, I'm really liking it because I'm working from work. I'm from home. So I'm remote from home, doing all of my business at home. And it's a challenge because you're used to being out. You're used to going out. And so, being at home, it's
the
a
creativity.
Different culture.
Let me jump in here. I want to ask Terry and Wendell a question first, and then if anyone else wants to jump in on this, you can. Right now, there's a lot of there can be a lot of stressful times happening because you're in the house, but some people may be out of work and different things of that nature. And Wendell, your job, your career, you and I are in some of the same fields we've been at. We were partners at a particular conference speaking, and I was challenged with falling back into backsliding and stealing, because some of the stuff you said was so good. I kind of wanted to, take it. But as I told somebody, if you're going to steal a Lamborghini, don't steal no Pinto. And so he's Lamborghini speaking, So what, like right now, I want to get into the finances later, but right now, men need motivation. And I want to talk to you about that, and Terry, about the stress that can come right now. How would you, what would motivate a man at a time like this? What motivational things would you say to a guy going through this situation right now?
One of the things that I would say to an individual at this time, there's opportunity. A lot of times we don't realize in any economy or any situation or whatever is going on, there's an opportunity for growth.
I like that.
But we have to be willing to look for the growth. A lot of times we expect the growth just to magically appear, but we have to learn to see it. It's just like a person who looks at a tree and see it as more than a tree. In the same way with these opportunities that we're faced with, we have to see it as more than just a time to sit at home and be depressed. We have to look at this as a time to get encouraged and figure out, how could I possibly use this time to not only better myself, but better the people around me? So it's all about the way we see things, because the way we see things ultimately determine the way we handle them.
Very good.
So in order for us to get a more positive and upbeat mindset, we have to see this as an opportunity for us to better ourselves than to see it as something for us to fall back. Like I was giving a speech earlier online, and I talked about the difference between when the coyote sees the lion, the coyote gets scared, opposed to when a lion sees a coyote, a lion gets excited. Why? Because of their mindset. And this is the same with each and every one of us. The way we start to see things ultimately determine how we deal with it. So if we learn to change our mindsets, we can learn to change our lives.
Oh, that's very good. That's very good. Terry, stress, as a marriage and family therapist, you have your own practice, you deal with people in situations like this. The effects of stress, how could that stress level, how is it increased in times like this, and what are some of the effects of it? We were talking earlier about this.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's important to remember, especially in this time and what we're dealing with, one of the trademarks of stress is it decreases your resistance. So it's going to decrease your immune system. So one of the things that this virus attacks is your immune system. And you need that as high as and as well and as well functioning as it needs, as it can be. So recognizing that, okay, if I'm stressed out and I'm worried, that's actually working against me. That sometimes is the motivator to go, okay, well, what can I do to guard myself against this? Because, and I think we talked about it a little earlier, is how do you, in a time like this, when everything and everybody, not everybody, but if you look at the news for more than 2 minutes, I'd say 95% of that 2 minutes is going to be telling you how powerless you are, how you can do nothing about it. And words are very important. One of the things that always sets me off is words. And I'm a word person.
Right.
One of the things they talked about is they talked about this as an invisible enemy. I don't know who gave him that phrase. I don't know why they used it. It's the worst phrase in the world to use for something. Because what does that tell you? You can't see it. You can't do anything about it. You can't beat it. You're basically powerless, which is a lie. But in the grand scheme of things, to get a message across, they use this phrase, the invisible enemy. Well, first of all, it's not invisible because you can see it under a microscope. It has traits and it has things that show where it is and what it does. So it's not invisible. But those types of things make you feel powerless. So stress is, to me, one of those things where you are overwhelmed with that sense of powerlessness and hopelessness. So the way that you combat that is you find ways to feel powerful or in control. And everybody, it's it's a human condition to want to be in control of something. You talk to any parent that's tried to potty train a kid, and control is a big issue. And it goes from there until you get older. And we're always we need to control something or feel as though we control something in our world. So to me, the way that you combat that, you deal with stress is using your mind to go, okay, now what can I control? Be it my perspective, be it my mindset, be it my actions, be it my thoughts, my words. There's lots of things that you can control. And all of those things, you can control them in such a way that works in your favor rather than against you. And that's the key. Be that spending time with your family, still having dates with your wife, having things to remember how grateful you are that you live in a country where I was talking to where you have running water. I was talking to my daughter who went on a mission trip to India a few years back. And she was saying, you know what, I wonder how they are dealing with this because their bathrooms don't have running water. They're outhouses. And we live in a country where we actually have a sink where we can wash our hands and put soap in there. So a lot of the times this sense of powerlessness creates that stress, but it's the mindset of, okay, what else can I do? Be it washing our hands, wearing a face mask, developing a company while it's in this time and finding those opportunities to take advantage of, be it relationship-wise, be it entrepreneurial-wise, be it spiritual. All of these things you can control, and that's the thing that should never be given up to anyone. We talk about freedoms. That should not ever be given up. Your ability to choose your mindset and your perspective should never be given over to a TV station, a radio station, or someone. That is something that God gave you to be able to make those choices. So use that.
Very good, very good, very good. Bishop Taylor, I want to ask you, and I'm going to come to you, Paul, about a financial question. But Bishop Taylor, the Christian community, right now, there's a lot of things happening. We can't go to church, the building, Easter's coming up, can't have Easter celebration. That's the mindset. And then, people who are not believers, they may say, oh, where's your God now? And then there are people who are believers are having a problem with, why would God let this happen? Or why would God do this? And so how are you addressing those things with peers, other pastors, in terms of how the church is affected, but how the church should respond? I think it's in John 12, the disciples were gathered and some Greeks came and said, sirs, we would see Jesus. How do we show Jesus at a time like this? I know I asked you a lot of questions, but one, how are your colleagues handling this? The church, how is it affecting the church? What do you say to people who say, where's God now? And how do we let people see Jesus at a time like this?
Oh, well, I mean, the church, first of all, the church is, from a Western perspective, the church is a service industry. And so just like most service industries right now, they're feeling the pinch because people are not in their dining rooms. For us, our service is sanctuaries. And so, people are not in our sanctuaries. And, I'm on conference calls just about every other day with national calls with pastors who are going through, mortgage issues and things of that nature that, the day to day or week to week, passing of the offering plate, these are means whereby we pay our staff, whereby we pay our mortgages and our bills. And so just like every other service industry right now, the church is wrestling with this. One of the things that I encourage a lot of pastors, and thanks be to God, we were kind of ahead of the curve like this at Heavenly Vision, to create another economic engine for your church outside of tithes and offering. We engaged in community development. My grandparents, the late Reverend Dr. Joseph Lee Jr. and Sandy Lee, they blazed a great trail for me, and they engaged in real estate as well as early child development. And so they created models for us to where we weren't just depending on tithes and offering to fund in, ministry, to take care of everything. And so that's one thing that, that we've been wrestling with a lot of different pastors, to say, okay, listen, especially if the church hasn't been engaging in texting to give and, online giving, the majority of their income comes from, the offering plate. well, you can't pass the plate right now. So,
right.
you know, just determining that. So that's one major issue. The second thing, I guess, continuing on the question that you asked, is for us, how do we show Jesus? Just to empower our Christian church members, the Christians, empowering them to be disciples and making them realize that, you know, this Western concept of church that we have, that we gather together, and, you know, the vast majority of the people that come in our sanctuaries are not responsible for the worship service outside of their giving. You know, that's why I started by saying church, to a certain degree in Western context, is a service industry. Because, you know, we got, you know, elder pastor, you know, worship leader Johnson, you know, here. I mean, that man works hard with his band, with his singers. And I'm sure there's probably 3-4 days a week that he's preparing just for that one day of worship.
Right.
And all the responsibilities on he and his team. And all we get to do is just come and sing what they've been practicing. We ain't got to get the pitch right. We ain't got to get the words right. We ain't got to learn the words. They put them up on the screen for us.
Right.
It's all service. And so now just encouraging our church members to know that, one, you can worship anywhere. You don't have to go to these wonderful cathedrals. Thank God for these amazing, but you have to worship there. The Bible says that the only location, it's a twofold root: spirit, truth. That's all you need to worship God. And so encouraging that you can worship God anywhere, but then also letting everybody know that your house has now become the house of God.
Ooh.
You know, and so encouraging them to, like, just, you know, the same acumen and the same demeanor and the same posture you would have in the house of God, you need to start having that at your house.
Wow.
You know, at Heavenly Vision, we encourage people, we say, don't get in front of your TV with your sweats on. If you ain't gonna wear it to church, don't wear it to your living room.
Wow.
You know, get dressed, you know, wash your face, brush your teeth. Don't be sitting eating a bowl of cereal while praise and worship is going on. You know, prepare yourself. And for Heavenly Vision, and I'm maybe, you know, that's not a trade secret, but for us, if you watch our live stream the last couple of weeks, since, you know, we've had this, you know, shifting of our entire narrative as a church, at least from the Western perspective, you know, we've been trying to wean off our congregation from the experience, because if we're not careful as pastors, you know, we'll just switch from one drug to the other. You know, to where, you know, they were comfortable in the pews, now they're comfortable in their couch. And so our goal is, and, you know, hopefully, you know, if any of our parishioners watch this, they'll know the cat's out the bag. I'm not even preaching a sermon tomorrow. We're just doing a bit of worship and the communion, and then we've sent out sermon notes to all of our congregation, and we encourage every head of household. We believe that every man should pastor their home. I sent the notes out. Well, our creative team, they sent the notes out to everybody, and so after communion and after we sing the song, I'm going to say, hey, everybody, if there's a word in the room, if there's a song on your heart, we're going to give this time to you and your family. You all continue your worship service. I love you. Have a great Palm Sunday.
Wow. Bishop.
And because if we don't empower the church now, then we will be stuck like every other service industry, that because their customers are not in the seats, they die. And I told our team the last time we met, and we shut down all of our operations at Heavenly Vision for about 2 weeks so that everybody can be quarantined. I told our staff, I said, listen, if Heavenly Vision, this year we're a 67-year-old church. My grandfather, 68-year-old church. My grandfather pastored for 50 years, and this is my 18th year pastoring. It's a 68-year-old church. If we die in a month of not meeting in physical gatherings, then we're not as strong as we thought we were as a church.
Wow. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
And so we really have to begin to resource our men, our women, our home leaders to where they recognize that, you know, the gospel is not exclusive to individuals. Every person should be a vessel for the gospel to be given. And so that's what we're trying to do, trying to empower the people to where they live out the Great Commission.
And that's similar. Well, that's an example of what Wendell said. in terms of this being an opportunity to do church different, gospel still getting out there, opportunity to empower people. So, and watch this shameless plug. There's a quote from my book, Encouragement for Your Accomplishments, that says, in every awful opportunity, in every awful opposition, there's an awesome opportunity. And so
I fully agree.
They do come up. Paul, I want to ask you, everybody's being affected financially with this. People not being able to go to work, or businesses doing less work. Would you say this is an opportunity, and if so, help some people? An opportunity. You have a post that you do regularly called "How Money Works." Help somebody understand finances at a time like this. If you can, give me a short version of helping somebody understand their finances and what they can do about it at a time like this.
Thanks, Pastor Shigg. I'm encouraged by these brothers here. You guys are amazing. I see the legacy in the Shigg family. I see the legacy in Bishop Taylor's family. And I don't know anything about Wendell, but he sounds more mature than I was at that time. I'm first generational in the sense that I'm learning how money works, using a model called protection-based planning. And the reason why I bring that up, Dr. Shigg, is because, as we've grown up, unless you come from a legacy family like yours and Bishop Taylor's, we're not aware that wealth building is generational. Mm-hmm. You can be rich on your own, but wealth takes generations.
Right.
So unless you are willing to pay the price building wealth for your family, you're going to miss an opportunity, not only for you, but for your family as well. Right. I have clients right now that I say, listen, right now, there are certain stocks that we should be buying, and they look like they're bad stocks, but they are for today.
Right.
But what you do today will affect you in 7 to 10 years. But the challenge is we don't understand that there's a lag time with finances. We've been raised, a lot of us, not you guys, but we've been raised. I was raised to think I got to go make money for today. Right. And some of the biblical principles we don't actually operate in, which is, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to us. We don't actually operate in those principles all the time, or we don't understand them.
Right.
So we don't recognize that the seed that we're sowing today is going to be good for 7 to 10 years. That's the economic cycle. 7 to 10 years. This particular one has been 11 years. So we think on, the usual lunar calendar when the world is actually operating on a Jewish calendar. So when we're buying, we're supposed to be selling. And when we're selling, we're supposed to be buying. So it's understanding how money actually works through attaching yourself with the right community. So in these, seeing these 6 pictures in the screen, this is an opportunity. It should not be missed. We should all be leaning on each other's strengths and covering each other's weaknesses. Isn't that the Bible that we read and study? So what I like to encourage people to do in this time is understand that just because there's a quote unquote pandemic, does that mean that your opportunity is gone? It means that you need to look at things the right way. You need to see things the right way. I don't believe in, forgive me, Brother Wendell, I don't necessarily believe in positive thinking. I believe in positive speaking, optimistic speaking, and worldview. Right. But I believe in right thinking. So a lot of us have been trained to think the wrong way because we hear news. When I look at the news, it's actually very motivating for me. And I'm not trying to be positive. I'm just trying to be real with you.
Right.
This is an opportunity to see things differently. The challenge is, if it's not in your usual purview, you think it might not be for you, and that's a problem. So you have to get to the place where you're going to do things, you're willing to do things that you do not understand. Now, but you can't do it by yourself. You need solid relationships.
I like that.
And you're not going to understand everything.
Right. Right.
But if you lean on solid relationships in the tough times, in the good times, those will be the people that are eating around your table.
That's good. That's good. We're gonna get ready to close because I don't want to take too much time of you gentlemen's time, but I want to do this. Wendell first, and then Elder Johnson. Like me, much of what you do is based on going out, speaking at a workshop, doing a book signing, or different things of that nature, and all of that is dried up right now. I was telling you earlier, my author's workshop for 2 weeks from now has been dried up. I had a book signing in Las Vegas. That's gone. My yearly Selfie Author Showcase that I do every year, that's had to be canceled. And so, Wendell, you talked about opportunities. So those speaking opportunities or writing opportunities, book signings that you did have, and Johnson, the worship leader, the conferences that you do, there are some gentlemen watching. I have a friend, his stage name is the Shell of LA. He's one of the hottest DJs in the country, and all that's gone. And so how have you taken this as an opportunity? And Wendell, what have you done and what will you be doing? And what would you encourage people to do to make an opportunity at a time like this, when speaking engagements, book signings, or whatever their thing is, has dried up?
The great thing is the fact that everyone is at home and most of us are on their phones. If we find ways to create content to where it draws people to us, so when things, they will go back to normal. And when they do, because of the time, effort, and energy we put in now, it'll set us up for the future. Ooh. Just like Paul was saying, you sow a seed now, you get the harvest later. Wow. So through the times that we're going through, you end up putting out content. You start to give people stuff that they can live on now. So when it is time to get back in person, people are excited and ready to see you in person. So it takes a matter of working now to prepare for what's to come.
Oh, I like that. Johnson, same question to you. Again, the conferences, the workshops, the praise and worship leader that you are, and then you have a book about that and different things. So what would you say, in addition to what Wendell said, in terms of, that's affected you? What can you do about it?
Well, it's really, Wendell, you could have kept going on, man. You're just hitting on so many good points as it relates to that. I have just recently, in the past couple of months, been real hard in the studio working on my album, working on music.
Plug it.
Also, I have my first single coming out we're excited, actually, within the next month. And I have a song, actually, that I wrote. And the title of the song, Pastor Shigg, you've heard it, Build Me an Altar. And I just recently revisited that song because it's really needed, like right now.
Yeah.
And the song, Pastor Taylor, is talking about a conversation between man and God. Us making God promises, and the simple response from God is, build me an altar. You're talking to me while you're driving down the highway. You're talking to me when you're in a crisis. You're talking to me when you're in a problem. But why don't you take some time and build me an altar so that we can actually have conversation, and you talk, and then I listen, and then I listen, or better yet, I talk and you listen.
Right.
And let's have a conversation, and let's strategize on how to bring you out of this one situation or this problem. With the seminars and the workshops, yeah, I had to postpone and cancel. I was not even discouraged because the area or the open door window of social media is totally huge right now.
Right.
You can actually do a master class on social media. You can actually do have a mini concert or something like a podcast or something like that on social media and continue to get your revenue and your revenues in and your monies in, Cash App and Push Pay and all of these other different financial ways in order to still get your revenue in. But I will have to say to the person that would be listening that just want to give up or probably want to throw in the towel, this is the moment, like Wendell was saying, this is the moment to finish your book. This is the moment to complete your strategy on the next event. Because we have all this time just sitting around. Well, if we're sitting around doing nothing, why won't we put that effort into completing it? Now I'm talking to myself too, because I have a couple of books inside me. Thank you, Dr. Shigg. So I'll say it so you won't have to say it.
Okay.
And so I just really encourage, those entrepreneurs, don't let your dream just sit on a shelf and collect dust. You can still make it happen, but you just got to work it out. And so I have a team around me. We're actually talking about starting a podcast and trying to get that together. I know nothing about it, but they know how to get it together. So we're strategizing and actually making plans on how to get it happening. So when we are over this crisis, and we will be over this crisis, and we're going to come out better than we went in. And so when we come out, we'll already be ready and running and doing what we need to do. So
right, that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Like Paul said, leaning on relationships. Want to ask you gentlemen to take we're going to close out now. I do again appreciate your time and thank you, because you could have been doing something else, cutting the grass or cleaning out that closet that you've been telling your wife you're going to clean out for 6 months, or playing with the kids. And I appreciate that. But I want to start with Terry, Paul, Wendell Johnson, and Bishop Taylor in that order. Take some time, speak to your brother, your cousin, the man down the street, fellas that you used to play dominoes with. Take some time and speak to them and help them at this time. Terry, Paul, Wendell Johnson, and Bishop Taylor.
Okay, for me, I've always been one of those, and as my last name indicates, thinking outside of the box, or always thinking. So to me, one of the things that I would put out there, and I always tell people, is never underestimate yourself. Never underestimate the opportunities and the experiences that you have had that have developed you to get to the point that you are today, because it happened for a reason. And the more you recognize how all those things fit together, the easier it will be for you to move forward to whatever that next challenge, whatever that next task is. I want to say I love what Brother Taylor was saying about the church being diversified in its income. And from being the chief operation officer of a nonprofit, I realized that early on that a lot of the models that businesses, people, nonprofits, churches run on is an outdated model. So when people that are successful do things that are unusual to people that are not successful.
Wow.
One of the things that I would say is I love to read and I love to hear stories. And one of the things we talk about Warren Buffett and how his brain works. And I heard a story about him and said he bought pennies. He bought millions of dollars worth of pennies. And the minute he bought them, he put them in a warehouse. And the reason he did that is because the pennies are worth more as copper than they are as a penny. So he just made money by buying pennies. Just thinking outside the box. Another thing that he did is he bought Coca-Cola. Didn't change anything, raised the price of Coke by 5 cents and made millions of dollars. Didn't do anything. Now, we may not have as much money and as many resources as a Warren Buffett, but we can still do those types of things if we take all of our experiences and look for the opportunities. I've had people come into my office and start talking about things. And to me, again, as my last name indicates, I tend to listen to them. Our brother was one of those people that everybody was his best friend. He'd meet you for 5 seconds and you were his best friend.
Right.
But I have that ability to listen to people no matter what. Young brother came into my office talking about his candy that he sells and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, tell me about it. So we bought some candy. We developed a relationship. 3 months down the road, an idea came to me, which the Lord planted in my head is, okay, what's your product? So we came up with water. Okay, so we sell alkaline water. Now I need somebody to distribute that. Guess who it was? This young man that I just met 3 months ago that came in off the street that I didn't know anything about. Now we're a partnership. But those are the opportunities that are out there that will present themselves if you are looking for them, if you are open to them. They're out there. So to me, I would say in these times, look for those opportunities. Pay attention to all the things that have happened to you up until this point and start to recognize and look for, okay, when's that next thing going to walk through the door? When's that next opportunity going to come on my screen? What can I prepare for? As Brother Joe says, what can I prepare for now so that when this opens up, I'll already be running. My engine's running and my engine's revving up. So when this thing, they take me out the blocks, I'm gone. It's not going to be, I have to start it up. I'll have that book written. I'll have that screenplay done. I'll have that business started up. So as soon as this is ready, I'm ready to go. I don't have to go and tool up and get everything ready like 90% of the population will have to. I'm going to be part of that 10% that says, I'm going to have it ready now. So when we get going, I'm good to go.
I like that. I like that. And each of you want to give you a chance to plug if you have something going. You can plug it, a book or a product like my brother did. At the end of your conversation, your talk, do that. Tell us again, Terry, about ABC.
So Anybody Can Youth Foundation. It's a nonprofit. It was started by Archie Moore, who was the light heavyweight champion of the world for about 10 years, which is unusual in the first place. But one of his passions was young kids and young men. So he started an organization to give kids something to do other than just being on the street and trying to figure out what are the simple do's and don'ts of life. He brought them in, taught them boxing, and taught them those simple do's and don'ts. Go to school, go to church, get a degree, get a job. All those things that as parents we want to instill in our children. He reached out to every kid, even if they didn't have parents, to give them that. So we still do that to this day. We teach them boxing, we give them tutoring, we give them whatever we can. And what again happened about 3 months ago before all this started up is my partner is Archie Moore's son, Billy Moore. So he's the president and CEO. So I partnered with him and we came up with a product, which is Mongoose Water. It's and you can go to Mongoose Water on Facebook and you'll see our Facebook page. And so that was one of the products that we came up with, being the idea that we can generate revenue from that for-profit LLC that will be able to be funneled into our nonprofit, so that when times like this happen and you're worrying about people donating you money, you already have a source of revenue. So yes, we still need it. If you want to donate to us, you can go to our website, donate. But my goal is to change that whole paradigm, that whole model, to go, we will have what we need to take care of the kids that come through our doors, and we will welcome any help that we can get, but we will not be dependent on anyone else and everybody else to do what we need to do.
Right, very good. Paul, help somebody, encourage somebody, and plug your business at the same time.
Terrence made some excellent points. Thank you, Terrence. Of how important it is to see things the right way, because what you see today is based on the education that you've had up to this point, but you can see things differently. I do not see a problem right now. I see an opportunity. I see now the importance of doing video conferencing, connecting with brothers and sisters. You know, I wish I had seen Zoom in 2016 when they first got started at $43 a share, and now they're $144 a share. But that was for vision then. You with me? But there are those opportunities right now, but you have to be open to them, and they look very much different than what you're used to. So, you know, whether you got fired from your job or things have slowed down at your business or your ministry, you know, if you're looking for the opportunities like the SBA 7A program, Dr. Taylor or Bishop Taylor is there for nonprofit organizations that maybe you don't need the money, but it might be a great opportunity to take advantage of that SBA money that is open to your legacy nonprofit organization. Same thing for you, Terrence. Same thing for you, Wendell. As a self-employed person, you're entitled to about $10,000 free with this disaster relief. So finances, if we're aware of the information, then we can take advantage of these things that are happening right now. It's not necessarily a negative thing. However, we may have to align ourselves with a group of people that we're not familiar with, do things that we're not used to doing.
Right.
It may mean the dropping of some walls, getting over some fears. I tell my daughter all the time how important it is to not be the smartest person in the room.
Right. Right.
You know, if you're not taking the time to get around people, like when it comes to marriage, Dr. Taylor and Mr. Shigg, and even Wendell, I have no clue. I have no clue. But I've always treated my daughter's mother with respect over this 33 years and maintain a very, very good relationship with her. But as far as being married, I haven't been the person to do that. But the point is, if I want to understand how to do that, then I should surround myself with men like you.
That's right.
Which is unusual for me, but that's something that I want to learn how to do. Same thing with people who are in financial distress right now, or distress in their families because the wife is tripping out right now. She doesn't know what you're gonna do. You're not coming up with any witty inventions. Help me, Lord, or whatever it might be. You know, your kids are tripping out. You know, now you got to help them study, and you don't know trigonometry and you know, and whatever, you know. So it's the opportunity to sit down on Google or Yahoo or whatever search engine and learn together and build those relationships with your mother, with your wife, with your son, your daughter. I've had to do it with my granddaughter, a Zoom meeting with her, helping her on fractions. Because my daughter said, Dad, I don't have a clue. So, but what a great time to build relationships with my grandkids and my daughter. It's something that they will never, ever forget. But as far as finances go, I've had to restructure. Going into this business, I walked away from a 6-figure job 3 years ago, preparing for this. 3 years ago, I knew I wanted to be like Wendell. And I wanted to do something, and I wanted to have a license behind me. So I took the time. I had an insurance license, but I took the time to get my securities license. I wanted to study with the best, so I went to a 175-year-old company, mutual company. I invested as well with them, and I'm learning their system, their process. And so that's what I want to bring to our community. It's not about putting out fires on a day-to-day basis. What it is building a process. The kingdom of God is a system. The kingdom of operation, the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven, those are systems. And so I'm building a system so that I can do for my grandchildren what Dr. Taylor has done for what Dr. Taylor's parents have done for him, leaving a legacy, having a bigger vision than today.
Okay.
I'm a licensed agent. I'm a registered rep with New York Life. In October, I'll be launching my own DBA, Paul C. Dozier, Family and Business Strategy. I will be going, I'll finish this process with New York Life. I'll be able to not only take the strategies that I've learned from them and bring them to the African American community who by the year 2053, it is projected that we will have zero wealth. I want to serve the African American community. We're tough because I'm tired of climbing over our walls, but I'm dedicated to doing that. That's what I'm doing with my future. So
how can real quick, how can someone get in touch with you if they want to talk to you about any of the things you just mentioned?
Right there.
Okay.
pdozier@ft.newyorklife.com. This right here is my Google number right here. 872-221-4577, 872-221-4577. My cell phone number is 213-841-6241. I'm here in the LA area. I'm licensed in multiple states, can be licensed in many, many more.
All right.
And listen, whatever information you need, if I can help you find it for free, I will do it because I love the world of finance.
All right. All right. Cousin Wendell, help somebody at a time like this, and then tell us what you're doing, plug your product, how we can get in touch with you.
All right. One of the things I want to share is if you still have breath in your body, you still have a purpose. Too often, we like being in the river, we just go with the current. But once you realize that you have a purpose, even if you got to row against the current, you do that because you know you still have something to give to this world. I've come to realize that our life is a lot like cake mix. And the reason I say that is because there's three general things that you can do with cake mix. You can make something big out of cake mix, like a huge cake. You can make something small out of cake mix, like cupcakes. Or you can decide to make nothing out of cake mix.
Ooh.
And it's the same with our lives. We can make something big out of what's going on. We can make something small out of what's going on, or we can decide to make nothing out of what's going on. But what we make out of this time is up to us.
Yes.
We have the ability to do all things. Everything that you need, you already have inside of you. If you're willing to take the time to figure out exactly what this world needs right now. And what it needs is people who are looking to be creative and innovative to push where we are into the future. You have greatness in you, and if you go after what you want, you can have it.
Tell us how we can get in touch with you if somebody wants you your book or to speak with you or whatever. How can people get in touch with you?
You can either follow me on social media at I am Wendell Jones, IAMWENDELL Jones, JONES. That's on Instagram, or if you're on Facebook, you can follow me at Wendell Jones, and I'm here for you. Or you can even.
You froze.
Email me at Wendell possibly can.
Give us your email again.
Help in any way that I possibly can.
Give us your email again. Your screen froze when you were saying the email. Give us your email again.
What my email is Wendell Jones, WENDELL Jones, JONES 21 @hotmail.com. And if you send me an email, I'm willing to help in any way that I possibly can. If you're looking for a little encouragement or some information that you can use to take steps to get you to where you want to be, you can follow me on social media, reach out to me via social media or email, and I'm willing to help.
Thank you so much. Elder Johnson, help somebody and plug your product.
Well, everybody basically said everything. Wendell, man, you are amazing, dude. I need to follow you. I need to sit where you are. You're definitely motivational, definitely, and I appreciate all the gentlemen on this call. I just want to encourage the body of Christ. We've seen worse. We've gone through worse personally, in ministry, family, financially, and God has saw us through. We cannot give up now. I mean, it's such a great opportunity to find your life of worship. I'm sorry, that's just me. That's what I do. I walk worship, talk worship, sing worship. And I really honestly believe that God is strategically about to work something out for us. I really believe that the door of opportunity, as we've been saying on this program, is so wide open. And I really honestly believe that God's about to do something great. I can be reached on social media as well. Facebook at, Dwayne Johnson. Instagram at Dwayne Johnson 372. And you can inbox me. You can call me. I am open. I mentor. I counsel as it relates to music ministry. I do my burden is music ministry,
right?
Because we do a lot of performance, but not a lot of ministry.
Woo!
And I really believe that ministry, it costs to be anointed. It costs to be to have that type of prestige and that area of respect. And I honestly believe that if we come together, the priest and the Levite come together again to fellowship and to understand each other's heart, we won't have a lot of fight. And if we have a budget cut, we'll still be running ministry as if nothing's going on. But it's all about us having conversation. And so there's a book that I'm finishing, Dr. Shigg, and it's the 3 elements of a great worship experience. And it talks about a man to man, God to man, and man to God. And it talks about the conversation that we all have together. But I promise you, if we come together in agreement, we'll have a great worship experience. So I'm just excited about this. And thank you, Dr. Shigg, for giving me the opportunity to be a part of this with these great men. Thank you so much.
No problem, no problem. Bishop Taylor, help us, men specifically, but everybody else, help us at this time, encourage us. And if you have something you want to promote, please do so, sir.
And again, thank you so much, sir, for the opportunity to be a part of this just august body of leaders and men. I'm really honored to be a part. I appreciate this opportunity. I'm richer even now for having been able to be a part of this conversation. What I could share, you encouraged us that this is a encouragement, and you wanted us to talk about dealing with the time of being in the cave, and in that context, I hear the Lord speaking from 1 Kings chapter 19. There we find the prophet Elijah, who had just killed all of the prophets of Baal, had just called down fire on Mount Carmel, and now he's running for his life for fear for being killed from Jezebel, and he finds himself in a cave. He's not hiding out from coronavirus, he's hiding out from Jezebel. But after the Lord sends the earthquake and the fire and the wind, and then he speaks to him in a still small voice, the Bible says that he goes back into the cave and he grabs his mantle. I got a mantle here. It's not a scarf like the president was talking about. It's a mantle. I got it when I was in South Africa once. And I want to encourage every man to get their mantle. Get their mantle. The Bible says that when the still small voice spoke to the prophet Elijah, he went back into the cave, he got his mantle, he covered his face, and he went to do what God called him to do. God called him to do 3 things. He said, I want you to anoint your successor, Elisha. He said, I want you to anoint your successor. In other words, in this time, men, grab your mantle and prepare your next generation. You have time to be with your children. Some of us never had this time to spend this much time with our kids. So this is the time. Part of your mantle is to pour into your sons and your daughters. The next thing he tells them to do is he tells him to anoint Jehu, who would be the next king of Israel. In other words, prepare yourself for leadership transition. You need to know this. Pastors are passing away. CEOs are resigning. There will be a myriad of leadership opportunities if you prepare yourself for it. Now, the last person he tells him to anoint, and then I'm done. We preachers, we got to have 3 points, right? The last person he tells him to anoint is Hazael. And, you know, some people say, well, why would God tell the prophet to anoint Hazael? Hazael is part of the Syrian army, and he would be the next king of Syria, who would be the opposition of Israel. I believe the reason why God called the prophet, the old man prophet, to anoint Hazael is to let Israel know that even when your adversary is against you, I need you to know that I'm in charge of your adversary. And so I want every man to know right now that even though there may be a lot of stuff going on, God is even in control of this virus. God is in control of the economy. God is in control of your family. God is in control of your company. God is in control of everything in this earth. He is the Lord and he is sovereign. And so look for the opportunities, find your mantle, put it on, and run and see what God's going to do in this new season. I love you.
And that's why he's bishop.
That's why he's bishop. That's why he's bishop. That's why he's bishop. You can give me the PayPal address. I'm going to send my offering.
Listen, anybody who wants to connect with us, they can hit me up at James Ray Taylor on any social media platform. Or if you want to know what's going on in Heavenly Vision, you can hit us up at hvcla.com. hvcla.com. We love you.
Brothers, I thank you. And to those men watching and those others that are watching, I want to say ditto what every one of these gentlemen said. Ditto relationships. Ditto opportunity. What are you going to do at this time? Ditto in terms of relationships. Your home, spend some time with your children. Find out what's going on. Your home, you may not, I don't have any children in my house. My son and grandkids, they live in Pasadena, but my wife and I spend time. Communication can get better. Spend time creating. Wendell said opportunity. He talked about the lion and the coyote. One sees a problem, the other one sees provision. And so look at the opportunity, change the mindset, because principles work. Paul talked about strategies and systems. Get the principles, because principles work. Principles aren't prejudice. The principle of gravity does not care who you are. The principle of gravity, if you have a PhD and you jump out the window, you're going to fall just like somebody with a GED, because the principles of gravity don't care who you are. The principles of success don't care. They will work. So find some principles. What can you do? At the workshop, the conference I was with Wendell, awesome speaker too. You need to get in touch with him. There's something I told everyone. Every one of you, gentlemen, you have a gift, a talent, or skill, or ability that somebody needs, and they're willing to pay you for it. Whatever it is. And so get that. Don't panic. Prepare, but don't panic.
Well, that's good.
We talked about stress. Don't worry. I don't worry about anything, because there's no winning in worrying, and there's no strength in stress. So don't worry about it. Take care of yourself. Wash your hands. Drink your tea. I drink ginger, lemon, and honey tea every day. Do that, and there's something you can do. I'm finishing up 2 books now, working on my workshop. If any authors out there want to be authors, hit me up at drshigg@gmail.com. We've got a workshop coming up, and we've got a pop-up workshop coming up, some accomplishments for your dream. Dream is an acronym, DREAM. Hit me up if you want to be there, but do something. As I told you, my Aunt Elise says, you may not be able to do some things, but you can always do something. And my Uncle Scuffy always says that got to will make you do, but you have to want to. Get something done. You can do it. You can make it. And as always, remember that your dream is doable. And I'm encouraging you to go get it. You stay blessed. You stay encouraged. And I thank all of these gentlemen for being with us. You need to look each of them up with the information they gave. Look them up, and I guarantee you that you will be blessed. You stay encouraged. I'm Dwayne Shigg. Encourage you to move forward and possess your prize. Be blessed.